Right, so what I'm going to do is I've got a series of videos on different tarp setups. It's aimed at forest schoolers, but you guys who are doing bushcraft might find some of it interesting. Hammock guys, I mean, it relates to some of it setting up of hammocks and things like that, setting up your tarps for different situations. Basically, this is my tarp kit, and I apologise for the terrible angle, but I'm doing this kind of backwards. So what I have is in my bag, so I've got my bag, I've got my guide line, or sorry, my main ridge line, I've got my 2 prusik cords, and I've got 6 pegs. There's 5 here. I've broken one recently, so I need to replace that, but I can put my tarp up with 5. Do you know what, if I'm really pushed, I'll make one. And then I've got my tarp, which is a 4 metre by 3 metre tarp. So basically that's what I've got in my tarp kit. It's pretty standard as to what I have in my tarp kit. So I have several for forest school. If I'm out teaching bushcraft, I might rig up a couple of tarps in different areas to provide the groups I'm working with shelter, because to be honest, if you're working in the rain, it's quite demoralising. Just having something over your head just keeps the rain off you, means that you can focus on what you're doing a bit better. So that all packs down. That lives in my bushcraft bag. I have a slightly smaller one in my forest school bag, because the site where I mainly do forest school, the trees are a bit tighter together. Also, this is my main hammocking tarp, so if I'm out hammocking, it gives me loads of room, so I can set my hammock up and I've got space to work. I can either rig it so that it's 3 metres long or 4 metres long, so I can actually put a massive porch on my tarp. So if I'm out for a period of time and I know it's going to be rainy or bad conditions, I can actually pitch one side of my tarp up. Gives me protection against rain, but allows me to work. It allows me to get things done without having to move out from under my tarp, so it gives me that bit of shelter. It's a great sized tarp. There's bigger ones. I've got a 5 metre by 5 metre for doing really big stuff, but no, this is great. The main ridge line is approximately 10 metres long, so it then means that I can suspend my tarp from trees way apart, and it means that I'm not worried about finding the 2 perfect trees that are 4 or 5 metres apart. It means that I can go a bit further afield. I can find trees that aren't ideal. I can maybe go out between 2 trees to another. So if we're talking about it, for example, we've got these 2 trees in a V. I might want to rig to this tree here and have my tarp over in there, for example, if it was clear over through that V. So I can go between that V, I can come out to here, I can come out to this tree. It gives me the ability to extend what I want to do and improve my situation, because I don't want to be in a situation where I'm scrabbling about to find space. So that's just a little pointer for my tarp kit. In addition, I also have a DD Magic carpet, which is a great little lightweight ground carpet tarp. It can be used as tarp for covering. It's got no centre ridge, but you could always run your centre ridge line under it. But as just a on the floor tarp, it's great in wet weather, because if you're getting out your hammock or you're getting out your sleeping bag, you don't want to be putting your feet on wet muddy ground in your bare feet or your socks, because then you've got to put that in your boots, and then you're tracking water into your boots. It's not great. It means that you can stay dry, because that's one of the biggest battles at this time of year. It's November. It is actually raining a little bit, but not a lot. But it's raining more than I'd like it to, ideally. But it does mean that if it's raining and I'm getting out my hammock, getting out my tarp, I can put my feet on dry ground. I'm getting changed in the dry, I'm not getting changed in the wet, because all I'm doing is then getting from dry situation into wet situation, and eventually I'm bringing that wet situation back into my dry area, and it just means that eventually everything ends up wet and I end up cold. So it means that if I'm out here for an extended period of time, it makes that a little bit more difficult. Right, so there's a couple of videos to come, some photos, and the idea is that you'll be able to see a few different setups of tarps. If you guys got any questions about the tarps and things like that, please ask them, because I'll try and answer them as best I can. As I say, that's one setup I have. I have a couple for different situations. As I say, this is my bushcraft bag, which is set up slightly different to my forest school bag. but today I'm more bushcrafty than I am forest school, hence why I brought that bag. It's got a few more tools in it than what my forest school bag does. It's set up slightly differently because it's set up for a slightly different situation, but I can explain that if you guys have got any questions about that as well. Okay, thanks guys, and speak to you soon.